Um, so what happens when we're unable to move towards the discomfort on a regular basis because nobody's told us how this relates to our body and our nervous system, right? People, again, yeah, they interpret it as a personal failure, right?
And so you go the opposite way of self-respect and
Yeah.
self-trust.
Yep. And it's actually very paradoxical because if you really want to increase your quote unquote motivation or the ability to move in the direction of what's uncomfortable, it really means slowing down. You have to slow down, begin to engage the nervous system, right? Begin a process of letting it rebalance and not be so unconsciously afraid of tension and discomfort. Um, and then what we call motivation begins to occur naturally, like you're describing in your own experience.
Yeah, and I two things there. We're going to get a little further into identity, but first, I think this is where the bed making thing comes up for a lot of motivational speakers. Anybody who's found success, they say they start the day with this, and as they
I do it
when they
every
start,
morning.
right, as do I, and I believe it's just another example of what you were talking about when you turn away from the laundry. Another common one I have is if you see something on the ground or the floor, stopping to pick it up. And not
Yeah.
doing so is as damaging
Yeah.
as doing so is helpful.
Yeah. So I have a friend, right? And I mean, this is common, but for whatever reason, this person popped in my mind. And one of their issues is that things back up in their life, whether it be the dishes or the laundry or cleaning the house, right? She has this tendency to get behind on those things, right? And so, uh, and she doesn't know that that's related to her nervous system. It's related to how her body's operating. She doesn't know that. So it is something that makes her feel really poorly about herself, right? And part of also what's happening there is at the deepest level, the deepest engagement that we can have as humans is right where we are, engaging in what life has put right in front of us. So it doesn't matter whether it's the laundry or sweeping the floor, whatever it is. That's what life has put in front of us. That's our task, to engage in that. But what happens with many of us is, it's, how can I say this? There's like, we think other things are going to make us happy. So the mind tends to focus on these other things that it's been programmed and conditioned to right, instead of just engaging right where you are, right? And so her body has a really difficult time slowing down and being present with what's happening in her life and what she needs to attend to. Very difficult. It's very difficult for her to do that. Her life is really lived in the future. Like, when these things happen, when I get this, and when this occurs, right? You see what I mean? Emotional forecasting. When I lose weight, when it's going to feel this way, right? And just a side note, I've worked with many people that have had gastric bypass surgery. And part of that process is people have to get therapy prior to uh, essentially getting getting signed off for it. I don't know, sort of sounds dramatic, but that's a part of the process. And so what often happens, people lose that weight, and it doesn't provide the feeling that was forecasted. It doesn't change how they relate to themselves, really. Uh, Often that's what happens, and so the weight comes back on. That's a regular occurrence.